Hey, good morning and welcome back once again to Jack's Tech Corner for another Sunday morning show here. This is Photography Weekly and we are now on episode number 59. Today is Sunday, May 27th, 2012. Coming up in today's show, composition. Composition. You should all know this, right? Sometimes moving your feet and getting a different look will give you a totally different picture. And I want to show you how that is going to play into our photography and how that will work for you. Also, if you've seen on Google Plus, I posted an image this week and I said, coming soon to you, a new editor. And right away, Kevin put back on her. He says, editor? What editor? And I said, you'll have to watch Sunday morning. So I'm going to show you the new, revised, updated, fresh editor. And I'll show you that. And then we're going to do a tribute to our photo booth strips. There was, for as many people watched the shows, there was only 15 submissions this week. So we had 15 photo booth strips. They're very good, and I really enjoyed them. I watched the slideshow this morning. I always get that sneak peek. And it was very interesting, so I think you'll enjoy that. So with that said, folks, before we give the official shout-outs, let's go ahead and get started here with Photography Weekly, episode number 59. Okay, and that's exactly right. Let's start learning. Get these cameras out there, get them clicking around, get these things moving here. So this will help you use this digital camera even better, and I hope more efficiently, just by visiting this show each Sunday morning. And I'm glad how many people tune in here every Sunday morning. And like I said, if you're not chatting, you're missing half the show. It's kind of like watching half of a TV screen. You see like CSI, and you see him over here working on something, but you don't see over here there's a guy pointing a gun across the screen. So you're kind of missing something here if you're not in the chat room. So if you can do that, make sure you come back and do that. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about, as I stated in the open, is composition. Now, I'm going to first open here with the video, and this video is from a new actual series I'm working on to teach basic photography. So you're going to get a kind of a sneak peek into that new actual DVD or that new media that I'm working on. So, but it talks about composition. It talks about kind of moving around and getting that different shot, because composing a shot is not always dead on, looking straight, centering somebody in your viewfinder, and centering somebody in your lens, and then taking that picture. Composition is about composing a shot. And that comes, from the artistic part of composing or creating. So you want to compose your shot. Anybody can take a snapshot, and I know you guys are not here for that. So we're going to go ahead and get started with this. And then we will go ahead and I'll talk a little bit more about this. The video that I'm going to show you right now is about 5 or 6 minutes long. It is me. It's not something I found off YouTube, so I think you'll see that I am in the video. The beard is a lot younger, so it looks like I was a lot younger when I created this. There you go. So let's go ahead and get started with that, and then I'll come back and we'll talk more about composition, and we'll roll along with that. Let's get started. Hi, this is going to be a video now on composition and talking about the rule of thirds and also the four corners, which not a lot of people talk about, but I'm going to explain that to you today. So we came out here to a park where we have a lot of stuff to photograph, and I'm going to use my daughter again as a model so we can set her up, and we're going to use her in these shots to show you different ways of positioning you, your body, your camera, and we'll explain as we go along. So let's go ahead and we're going to get started. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to position my daughter right here by this fence post on this little bridge. We're going to take a shot more directly on. Then I'll show you a little bit about the rule of thirds and how that helps you to compose your shot. So go ahead and stand right there. Turn a little bit, hold on to that post. Okay, so now we have her standing right here by this railing on this bridge. We're going to take a shot straight on. And I'm going to show that to you in this video after we shoot this. So as you'll see in that shot, it's very much centered on her, and it's not very pleasing to your viewers. So I'm going to show you now a shot that would be more pleasing to your viewers and very easy to do just by recomposing the shot. Okay, take your hand out from your face. Look this way. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to get down, we're going to change our angle and actually do a different angle approach here. And if you get lower down your subjects and you're shooting more up, you're going to get a very much different perspective of your shot. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Put your hands down. Okay, so there we have the shot that I was just telling you about, where it's lower angled shooting up, and that's how that one actually looks. So you get different perspectives on each and every aspect of shooting. Okay, if you can still hear me now with this wind blowing around us, and that's the joys of shooting video outside, we're going to talk a little bit about four corners. Now what four corners actually says, the rule of thirds first, and I'm going to show you in this video. I'll set up a little three-way pattern. And we're going to take some more shots around here so I can show you exactly how that sets up, like where you want your subject based on what your surroundings are. You don't always want your subject center of the viewfinder. But the actual four corners is that when you look through your viewfinder, look at the four corners. Or if you're looking on the point and shoot cameras, right here, look at the four corners and see what's around the person. Sometimes when you look at people's pictures, go on the Flickr and take a look. You're going to see what happens sometimes is when you take a picture, there's a tree branch sticking out of somebody's head. If they're sitting too close, maybe over here, like this or something, you can end up having this thing, this pole looking like it's coming out of your head. So be very careful of your surroundings when you're taking your photographs. And you're going to make a lot better photographer, and your compositions are going to be a lot more pleasing. So now I think we're going to go ahead and we're going to take a little walk, and then we get some more pictures, and we're going to talk about the rule of thirds, and I'll do that through audio. So I'll be back.
In this shot here, you can see my daughter took this and she applied the rule of thirds, keeping me on the left and the lake on the right. In this shot, it's not very pleasing because it's a directional shot straight at the waterfall, and that is all that's in frame. Here we took the waterfall from behind it using a wide-angle lens, and we applied the rule of thirds by capturing the whole photo. So by now you should actually understand more about composition and the rule of thirds. And don't forget that four-corner trick. That's very important, very critical to making sure there's nothing around you when you're taking your pictures. It's very important. Okay, now that you're finished out with this lesson, go ahead and replay it if you want to catch it again, or go ahead on to the next lesson, and I'll see you back there. Bye for now.
Okay, it almost is like, was it live or Memorex? Was that last piece me? Or was it me somewhere else? Anyway, I thought, when I watched it, I thought, well, I should have had that black shirt on. You wouldn't really known that either way, so there you have it. Okay. Alright, guys, so the composition is just that, and what I touched on that last part there, and I was wondering if I did touch on the video, but after rewatching it there, I did see that I did. The last shot with the waterfall, I talked about a wide angle lens. So lenses will definitely give you a different composition. Now the lens I got, with the stock lens here is 18 by 135. So even just with this lens, when you're shooting at 18, it's a wider opening, right? And when we close it to a 135, it's more of a zoomed in. Again, you're changing your composition. That's exactly what's going on. Now, Jake the Snake will tell you that he just purchased a new lens. You might have seen some of his work. And he purchased a wide-angle lens, which I had a wide-angle lens and actually sent it back. I'm waiting to get a different one because I want one that's going to work on a full-frame camera. That's what he just bought. A wide-angle lens will give you another different type of composition because you can stand in the same place, change lenses, and have many different views. Same with a telephoto lens. The thing I didn't touch base on that I do use at weddings, we always carry a step stool to a wedding. And people, sometimes even my wife, when she first started going with me to these weddings, said, good Lord, why are you taking that? You can stand on a chair or something. I want something that's safe. So if I take that step stool, I know that it's good and safe. It's sturdy. So I stand on the step stool and I look down and I get a different perspective. So again, you're changing your composition. With landscapes, it's a little bit harder because a landscape is something that's static. So there we have to move our feet to get a different perspective. And I know a lot of you do that by watching your pictures already. But these are just tidbits of information that a lot of people don't pick up on. So they said, well, Jack, that's fine, everything. But if you're doing portraits in a studio, can you change your composition? The answer is yes, absolutely. I do it all the time. I can put the lighting in different ways. I can move my feet different ways. And I can also move the person left or to the right. So you're changing your compositions each and every time you make that movement. So that is the way that we talk about composition. Now, I don't know if you might have any questions on composition or any ideas that you might have with changing or using different ways of composing a person or a place or even a thing. So you can throw it in the chat room if you do. Now, what Ramon was talking about, and a lot of people are starting to do this, and I've seen somebody shoot a whole wedding like this, and it just really spazzed me out because what happens is a couple shots when you do that I think is cool, and the bride and the groom's going to think, well, that's kind of cute. It's different. If you start doing that shooting all night long, I'm going to show you that what I'm talking about. If you start doing that shooting all night long and all day at the wedding, they're going to think you don't have a clue what you're doing and you can't take a straight shot to save your soul. So what it is, you're putting the camera up and you're turning it. You're leaning. All your shots are leaning one way or the other. Leaning, and they're leaning over. So at the end of the day, it looks like you couldn't take a straight shot if you had to. So you don't want to do that every time. It's okay to take that, and if you want to compose a shot and turn your camera to the left or to the right, you can do that. Now, let me see. People straight on, things of nature, even nature, and I understand it, Roman. You can also take nature left and right. You can do that. So I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying don't do every shot like that. Now, for taking a straight picture on your digital cameras, wow. I gotta clean this viewfinder, it looks like. That's interesting. Anyway, on your digital cameras, when you look through this thing, there should be a grid. And you could turn that grid either on or off. I suggest always have your grid on. And another thing with the grid, if you read your manual, it's going to tell you in that grid view, if you're shooting a picture and you want to print it as an 8x10, a 5x7, again, that's all composing. You look in your grid and you would put the person within the certain grids that it tells you in your book so you can make sure it's going to print at the proper size. If you don't do that, if you fill your frame when you're looking through this viewfinder in the back, if you fill the frame and you print it 8x10, something's getting cropped off. So if you have somebody sitting out, not so much portrait mode standing up. Of course, I've done it. Maybe you have too. When you compose a shot, if you keep somebody's head at the top of the frame, it's getting chopped off right about here. So always leave a couple inches up and down on your frame just to make sure when you go to print that the print job is going to be okay without cropping anything off of anybody. Now, Andy says with the ESO 60D, the golden third is used in the live view. So in the live view, you can see that. Some cameras, my D80 here that I've been shooting outside with for the past couple days, does not have a live view, but the D7000 does. So there you go. So that's taking care of the composition. Hopefully everybody understood that, and we got a lot of good feedback there. I appreciate it, guys. That's the way to do it. That's what the chat room's for, to give feedback and talk a little bit. Another part that you're probably not thinking of composition that we should think about when you're composing, and I know some of you do this already, is your flash, right? Your strobes. Because when you light somebody up, it's a different composition. You're not just moving around now. You're doing something differently, so you're lighting them up a little bit. And don't be afraid to take your flash outdoors on a sunny day. You're going to get some amazing, amazing pictures. When I first started doing that, my wife was like, "It's a beautiful sunny day. What are you using that flash for? What's the matter with you?" And it's like, well, yeah, it's beautiful when it's sunny outside, but sometimes you need a little bit of fill light to overpower that sun. So that's how that would work. Just another thought, just throwing it out there to you. Okay. With that said, we're going to go into our short little advertising scheme here. Let you guys refill your coffee cups, refill your wine glasses if you're in that part of the world where you get to drink already. It's a little early here, being about 10:30 Eastern Standard Time. A little early in the morning, but you guys have a beer, whatever. Good to go. So we're going to play that, and then I'll be right back with you here to show you this new, updated type of editor. Not even a type, it is an editor. And I think you're going to like it, and you can do a lot with it. So stick around, and I'll see you back here in just about 3 minutes. So let's just say if you can't, you know, a lot of us, by the time we buy our cameras, by the time we buy our flashes, by the time we buy, you know, our high-speed digital sync cameras, you know, our high-speed cameras, the heck is this? No, I can't do that. But by the time we buy all that, and then I tell you, hey, buy Photoshop Elements, it's the greatest editor that there ever was, that ever lived. You're like, holy crap, Jack, if I buy one more thing, I'm going to go crazy. My wife's going to divorce me. My kids are already going to leave me. Or my husband's going to divorce me. Honestly, there's a lot you can do with free editors out there. And I came across a free editor the other day that I used a long time ago. I actually did some videos on it. And I thought I would reintroduce that to you today, to just show you that there is something free out there that you can use, and that you can, and you may want to use it also, because to me, editors, when you're talking editors, to me, it's like tools in my tool belt. Just like this, I have the camera, we have the flash, right? We have remote triggers, we have umbrellas, we have light stands. All of those are tools in our tool belt. Just like if you were a carpenter and you have a hammer and a screwdriver and a nail puller, if you're like me, because I bend a lot of nails, but that's another story. You would also have to worry about these tools you have in your tool belt. So we also have a digital tool belt. The digital tool belt is what we have on our computer to manipulate our pictures. And I just seen a post here the other day talking about manipulating pictures a little bit from Jessica. Jessica's not here this morning, but she's been also a long time founder from the show way back. She's been with us forever. She took some pictures with her new lens, and she said they were nice, but I still had to edit them. That's an interesting statement to me. I mean, I edit everything. When I do a wedding, I come back home and I'll dump in 800 shots into my editor, and I go through every single picture. Because you know what, folks, when you did film and you took that film out of that canister and you're developing it, believe it or not, as you're developing it, you're looking at every single slide in the viewfinder to see if it turned out okay. If it didn't, you didn't waste any fluids on it. You didn't waste any chemicals to develop it. You chucked it, right? That's what we did. We cut it. And that's where they came with the film being cut and laying on the editing floor, because the film would seriously just drop on the floor. Same thing holds true today. When you take pictures with this digital thing, the only thing we're dealing with here is many, many more pictures. If I would shoot film for a wedding, you might shoot, oh, I don't know, maybe 4, maybe 5 rolls of 36 you would shoot. Now, with the digital card in the camera, you're shooting what? Like I said, 800, 1,000? Are we mad? Are we crazy? Do we just love editing? But you have to get those in your editor. And to get there, you have to have that tool belt of editors. So there's nothing wrong with that. And what I mean by a tool belt is don't just use Photoshop Elements. You know, it's a good tool, but maybe it's not for everybody. Maybe it's not for everything you want to do. So maybe you have the money and you have Photoshop. Now maybe you have Photoshop CS6 and you're like, I kind of like using this, and that's fine. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong because I do it also. So let me show you this tool that I found. It's free. You're going to download it today and you're going to play with it. I know you are, because that's how it works when you do these shows. Kevin was saying Topaz. Topaz is also another tool. I helped somebody the other day with tools with actions. Actions speak louder than words, but I'm not a big fan of actions. I mean, well, I'm not a big fan of buying actions. And that could be a whole nother show, but you spend a lot of money for something you can do with a couple sliders. I'm not a fan of that at all. But Topaz is really great. I haven't used many of the Topaz filters. I know you guys have, and I've seen your work, and I really love the pictures, so I'll give them a big thumbs up. I think they do a wonderful job, and I think you guys are on track with that. Okay, so free is always good, so let's take a look at this free editor. And you're like, what could it be? Well, let the old bearded gray guy tell you what it's going to be today. Let's go ahead on to the other computer here. So what is this program that I'm showing you here? Well, this is Picasa. It's P-I-C-A-S-A. And this happens to be Picasa 3.9.8. It's a much updated version from what I taught online some years ago. So I wanted to take a few minutes and just walk you around some of this program and show you what it has to offer you. Now, the first thing it does when you load Picasa, it's going to look at your pictures folder. Now this works on Windows and a Mac, and also even on Linux, which I thought was pretty cool. And we all know how Kevin adores and loves Linux. He learned it in school, and he just thinks it's one of the best operating systems ever written. Now, okay, so Gordon said free is okay, but isn't thrilling. Isn't thrilling as far as being free. I'm going to show you here where it is a little bit more thrilling than what it used to be. The first thing is, as I was saying, it does pick up everything here in your pictures folder, my pictures folder, wherever your pictures are laying. It will find those and it catalogs those based on the directory is how it works. So when you go through these, you can just walk through these and you can see that the pictures are very much laid out for you very easily, very easy to find. So again, you say, well, that's all well and good and everything, Jack, and you know, I can get my pictures up in Elements, and you can move the slider in Elements in Lightroom, make them bigger or smaller, and that's really nice too. But again, remember folks, free. Alright, let's take one of these pictures here. If you right click on it, what I thought was really neat is it allows me to take this picture and upload it to Google+. When you do this, now a lot of us are on Google+, it's going to create a new album name on your Google+, and image size is either best for sharing or original size. So it's built in. Why is it built in? Anybody know? Because Google+ and Picasa is all written by Google. Add a message from the show. Add the circles, and we'll just pick the circles out here. We'll pick Jack's Tech Corner, that's circles. And then we'll just simply share it. And when you do that, that is actually going to be uploaded. Well, we hope so there in just a minute. All right. So it's actually uploading, and you can then view it online. When you view it online, you'll be seeing it right in your Google+ feed. Alright, so we're going to close that out. So that's pretty cool. It's there. It works pretty well. But, you know, the meat and potatoes of every program is not just organizing. It's not just being able to upload to Google+. That's all well and good. It's how well or can we use it for editing. Well, let's take this picture here. We're going to right-click on it, and we're going to view and edit. Now when we do this, again, remember this is another tool in your digital tool belt is what this is for. What we're doing with this here is you can do a lot of quick edits that you really don't need to do in Photoshop Elements. You're like, oh, I got to move this, I got to add this filter, I got to do this layer. We can do things just by simply clicking over here on this menu bar, such as cropping. If you click on crop, you click this pull down menu. We talked earlier about 8x10s. You can do 8x10 prints, 4x6 prints, 5x7 large prints. So you can do all these different aspect ratios right here, or you can do custom aspect ratios. Let's go back to manual. In manual, you could just simply draw a little box around it, just like you would crop in any other program. Cancel that. We can do things like straighten, fix the red eye. I'm feeling lucky, which I never feel that lucky to do anything with my photos on a program. I like to have a little bit of control over it. Auto contrast, auto color, retouching, adding text. This edit in Creative Kit, what that does, it takes your picture and pulls it back into the actual internet to do some editing on it. So if you click on that, make sure you have internet connection, and you can edit that way. Here we can do things like adding fill light. You see we can bring the light up here. What's nice too on this version, they added the histogram at the bottom. And I know we've never really worked with the histogram. I think I'll have to do a lesson with you guys on the histogram one time. Highlights is just that, whatever highlights is in there in the water. The shadows, we can darken them. All the shadows, we can bring them up. So look, if you darken that shadow and change this, and threw some highlights in there, you actually changed the whole composition of that picture, right? We recomposed it in the editor. That's crazy. So there's two lessons brought together. Color temperature, as you know, the sun or light is based on the actual temperature of the light. We can make it cooler. We can make it warmer, makes it more yellow. Cooler makes it more blue. Bring it back. Here's some sharpening, some sepia, some black and white. And these are also different ways to tint and play with your pictures. Again, this is just another way to edit, and this is just another program to have in that tool belt of yours. Now some of these they added in here was pretty nice, like 1960s. We seen a while back, Mike actually co-hosted a show, and he took an old picture and made it more new. He painted it and made it a newer picture. With one click here, I actually made this an old picture. So, I mean, and the rounded corners are nice. You can either have rounded corners or not. Cancel that. There's a heat map. I mean, so there's just so much you can do with your pictures in here. And so much you can play with. You know, so if you like playing around with your pictures, it's a really, really nice way to do it. There's a neon. And what I thought was neat with the neon is Picasa used to give you one way to edit, but now you can click on colors. We can actually change the colors of this water. So, I mean, it's very neat. Just a whole nother look there. So, do some different fading. So, again, I'm just introducing you to a new way of doing things. Polaroid. Remember how long we did that before back in Photoshop Elements? How long it took us to make a Polaroid? So there you go. That was a very easy way to make a Polaroid. I can apply it. We can go back here. We can enter text. Actually turn the text a little bit. I actually wanted to move it. There we go. We'll move it down to here. So you get the general idea. We're not going to bore you with all these edits, but it is a very nice program to use. You got the A/B up here, so you can look at two different pictures side by side, or you can look at that picture side by side also. So again, like I said, for being free, it is Picasa. It is free. I've seen Jake the Snake there threw the link up there for me. Thank you very much. You can download it, install it on your computer, and start playing with it today. There's a lot that it'll do. Just a few other side notes. It'll also do face recognition, which a lot of people have been saying lately, that's kind of scary, but it is kind of cool in the same way. It's kind of scary because they're using this technician. They're using this technical ability for the software to actually pick out facial features. So if you have Aunt Mary or Aunt Jody in there, or Uncle Bob, you have all these different people in there, and after a while, when you import these people, it'll start realizing this is Aunt Betty or Uncle Joe or Aunt Bob or Uncle Bob, whoever, and it'll actually start to pick those out. So it's just another nice way to organize your pictures, as if you need to organize them with any other program in the world. I mean, there's so many organizing programs out there, and I showed you guys Lightroom. I enjoy using Lightroom now for organizing, but I used to use the organizer and Elements, and there's Picasa, and oh crap, how many organizers can you have? Pick the one you like and stick with it. I think you'll be very, very happy you did. I'm going to close this program. Okay. Okay, guys, so I've seen a lot of stuff going on in the chat room there as we were going through that. And Ramon now said he can't wait to actually use this with some pics he took today. And I think in the beginning there, he was saying like, oh man, a free editor can't be that great. But it's a nice way to have that additional tool in your tool belt. That's why I wanted to show it to you guys. Just wanted to share that with you out there. Hold on, wait. Now you can see me, because I want you to see me, and so you can hear me say this. This week we are going to have a whole lot more entries for our slideshow than we did last week. Thanks to everybody out there that did post all those great film strips. So you did a nice job. There was a lot of variations on that. As I'm sure there would have been. You know what I mean? I'm sure there was going to be a lot of variations on that. Cut this back again a little bit there. Sometimes you turn that knob up and it just goes a little bit high. But it was. Good job, everybody. So I appreciate it, and I applaud everybody out there. You guys are becoming the photographers of the future. I'm just here to kind of guide you in that path, I guess. But I think we guide each other anymore. You guys help me as much as I can help you out. So I was thinking today, well, what are we going to do for an assignment this week? I don't know. I was thinking, what can we do for an assignment this week? And the more I started putting that through my head, the more I thought, well, since we talked about composition so much this morning, I want you guys to show me at least 3 pictures of the same scene composed in 3 different ways. Don't care how you do it. Don't care how it's shot. So if you're doing something like a portrait, give me 3 different views from that same portrait. A landscape, same thing, move your feet. Or Jake the Snake, I know you get that big wide angle lens. Show us some different stuff you understand about composition with, a normal regular lens, a wide angle lens, and maybe a telephoto lens. So show us what you can do there with it. So there you go, folks. We want 3 pictures this week. Post 3 different pictures on composition, and you will find the slideshow in the albums on Facebook. Next, just as a note pointer there, I wanted to put this at the end of this because it's on the YouTube video. As a footnote, I guess last week when I opened the show up, I opened the show and I said something about this is Photography Weekly episode number something. I don't know if it was. Let me go back real quick. I don't want to mess this up again. I said last week this is episode number 57, where actually it was episode number 58. I appreciate whoever emailed me there and told me I made that mistake, but by then it was too hard. I would have to restage the whole live show to actually change that. So I didn't change, I just left it roll. But last week was show 58, this week is show 59, so that's where we're at. Okay, so with that said, folks, that's it. That's all I have for you this week. Everything is there for you now and ready to go, and I think will be good. And you guys can go and get your actual assignments done and get those posted. So folks, we're going to stop the recording here. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for coming in here and watching Jack's Tech Corner each and every week, and Photography Weekly. It's because of you that makes the show possible. If not, I'd be sitting here talking to myself. And please, if you're on, check it out there with our, and I'll have to post a link in the Facebook and also put on Google+. I'll put a link for this show in the iTunes store. Now, what that's going to be, it's going to be an audio edition of this show, so if you want to sit back and listen again, you can actually listen to the show, maybe driving in the car or whatever. So thank you so much for joining, and until next week, as always, keep those shutters clicking, keep your editors editing, try out Picasa, get your composition assignments done, and I'll see you back here next week on Jack's Tech Corner for another Photography Weekly. Bye for now.